Hi everyone, it's Hans here, the founder of Cappuccino, and welcome to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, a podcast created to allow a space for open, honest and vulnerable conversations with real people, all over a beautiful cup of coffee. We're here in my home, so I'll be providing the flat whites, and my guests, they'll be providing the insights. So grab a coffee for yourselves, take a moment, and I hope you enjoy this latest conversation. Thank you, take care, and enjoy. Chloe, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, really well, thank you. And thank you for taking the time to join me for a conversation.
Of
It's
course,
morning for myself, it's evening for you. So you
it is
haven't
indeed.
said off camera that you have got a hot chocolate, but we'll let you off.
Yeah.
As I
I
thought.
also put it in a Starbucks mug because I know how much you love Starbucks.
Oh, nice. And I love how even on the mug you've got a little bit of a nod to for those watching where you're calling in from.
Yeah.
But for those listening, whereabouts are you calling in from? And maybe that might be a good way to move into a brief introduction of a bit about your
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, so I'm calling in from Hong Kong. So yeah, I moved here last August, so still feel pretty new to it. Um, but yeah, but I actually do a lot of my Zooms with or meetings with people in the UK, so it's quite often that I have like the time difference going on.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm used to it. Like it's all good. Yeah.
Amazing. No, thank you. And so what kind of took you out to Hong Kong?
So my now husband, he got offered a job opportunity here. And in all honesty, like we were quite happy, like in the UK, like we had like our house and our little bunnies and stuff, actual house rabbits. By the way, I
Yeah.
feel like that's like a random thing to just say. But we had pet rabbits. We were like quite like yeah, happy. But yeah, we just thought, you know what, like how often do you get this opportunity? Um, so yeah, after like a lot of conversation, just decided to go for it, and yeah, we're out here now,
No,
and love it.
amazing. No,
Yeah,
and I've seen
yeah,
definitely the rabbits. Sometimes on like kind of social media,
yeah,
you're a big fan. But I guess that's something that to leave behind must have been quite sad. I know it didn't talk
yeah,
big life change, right? And
yeah, massively.
yeah,
Yeah, um, and yeah, I mean, we'll talk about burnout a bit later and like managing like life events, but yeah, the rabbits. Yeah, we've only recently decided that we needed to leave them behind, really, which was a big thing. But just something that had to do what was right for them. We looked into bringing them here with us,
okay,
um, and like we got some quotes and we were going to go for it, but there was just this like niggle in the back of our minds, like it's not fair to put them on such a big flight because there is a bit of risk. So yeah, we've had them rehomed, but they're very happy and they're in like they've got a beautiful new home. So yeah, made it a lot. Well, it's like what would you call it? Bittersweet because we know that they're safe and
no,
well and
yeah,
happy, but we obviously miss them. But yeah,
no,
yeah.
amazing. No, but thank you. And yeah, you touched on burnout, which I know we'll kind of move on to. I think that's something that I've noticed that you kind of recently set up, like kind of on Instagram,
Mm,
kind of would say you're a burnout coach. I don't know if that's the right word
yeah,
you use. And I think
yeah,
that's really interesting. And those who've watched or listened before, or people who know me, know that burnout is
mm,
something that I've got lived experience of.
yeah,
So that was really interesting to me because it's not something that, say, I've seen before, maybe.
yeah,
I've seen a lot of, you have life coach,
yeah.
mindset coach, this, that, and the other. But if you don't mind me asking, what kind of
Mhm.
is your why with that? Is there kind of lived experience? Is there kind of
Yeah,
yeah.
very, very, very much so. Yeah. So I'll give you like a bit of like background to me, I guess. So I've always been interested in mental health. I did like psychology for my undergrad. I did a master's in health psychology,
Yeah.
which like looked at health across the lifespan.
Hmm.
Um, But so yeah, it's always been an interest, but it wasn't until I went through burnout and struggled with my mental health myself that it really drove me towards coaching and helping other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can go into like what really brought it on, like the burnout
Yeah.
situation.
If
Yeah.
you're comfortable to, happy to, because I think that's the kind of thing that
Yeah.
will be useful maybe for people listening, or I'm sure probably
Yeah.
bits that I can maybe relate to in certain feelings. But I think, or even where you said that it wasn't until you experienced it that you maybe then wanted to coach. And I think it's one of those things, isn't it? That it's really hard to explain how it feels to someone who hasn't experienced it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
know how a lot of your things, or I shared them recently about what's increasing stress, what's reducing stress, is almost that
Yeah.
it's something that it's certainly more my lived experience is that I needed a crisis to take it seriously. And
Yeah.
unfortunately that still seems that is maybe still kind of what you notice.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I won't sort of go into like the nitty gritty so much of, you know, where it happened and everything, but
Yeah, what time, what date? What
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
really set the scene.
Yeah.
But no, so a few years ago, I was in quite a sort of intense job.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't managing my stress very well. And I guess looking back, I didn't sort of express how I was feeling as much as I would now encourage people that I work with to, you know, reach out for support. And I basically got myself into a really unhealthy relationship with my work to the point where I was going in early, working through my lunch, staying late, taking my laptop home, looking at my emails at the weekend, which is like my number one rule for like anyone I speak to now. I'm like, leave that laptop at home. Don't you dare log in. Yeah, just really, yeah, just a really unhealthy relationship with it. It completely consumed me.
Yeah.
As a bit of a perfectionist as well, I don't know, I was always trying to like make sure I was doing everything perfectly. Everyone was happy with what I was doing. I didn't like having any emails left. I didn't want anyone thinking I didn't care. So I'd be like on my phone at the weekend. I wasn't eating properly. My anxiety was through the roof. I would cry randomly. I'd be at home at the weekend. I remember this one time I was watching the Formula One with my partner, the husband. He wasn't my husband then, he is now. Watching the Formula One, and he just made us like tuna pasta for lunch. And I, like mid mouthful, just burst into tears.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Well, no, I'm not, but I don't even really know what I'm crying about." But I'd got myself in such an unhealthy, anxious, stressed out, burnt out state that my body was just like letting it out in the most bizarre sort of ways.
No, that maybe, as you say, where if you're not regulating and the body doesn't kind of regulating as well, and it's kind of stress. And I think sorry, I will let you kind of carry on, but I think where you said that just crying for no reason or as a theme, I remember kind of not really knowing I was unwell, and then it all just hitting me at once. Almost like, as like people say, don't they, if you don't make time to stop, then your body's going to do it for you almost.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit I definitely felt with my kind of down. But yeah, where you mentioned even about not expressing and that maybe just crying for no reason. I saw it on a podcast recently, and I don't know who it was who said it, unfortunately. Almost that it's a little bit like a tap, right, with our emotions. But I just let things out, and gradually, so each time you suppress something rather than expressing it, it builds up the pressure and the pressure.
Yeah.
And if you don't release it or you cry, I think it was about men not really crying. I know it's specific to men, but and if they don't, then it's like when you start, or when it's all building up, and it's going to happen at some point, and it just becomes uncontrollable. So that kind of expressing. But no, it's something that you mentioned there about kind of wanting to show you care and people your work. That's something I can relate to a lot. And a lot of it, I guess, was, you would say, self-induced, all the pressure.
Yeah,
It came from you.
absolutely. Yeah, and
Mm.
it's, I guess it's just I was working in a role that's very customer focused,
Mm.
and just due to it was around the time of COVID, staffing wasn't fantastic, so I had like an additional workload, and rather than sort of actually sitting down, because I wasn't thinking rationally at the time, because as you know, when you're caught up, you're anxious, things just really build up, and you can't, what's the word I'm looking for? Not express it, but articulate what
Yeah,
it is.
like you said, where even you
Um,
didn't know why you were crying, or probably
yeah,
didn't know why you were stressed. Or I have it sometimes in my role
yeah,
now. I'm I know that I'm susceptible, and this is something I was maybe going to ask you,
mm,
and I will actually, yeah, I'll ask it now. Say if you had, I don't know, saw someone on their working day, or just
yeah,
observe them, probably be able to maybe identify who you think could be going on to a burnout and who couldn't, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I think there's just certain sort of behaviors, and so somebody who wants everything to be perfect all the time,
Mm,
people that are very hard on themselves,
yeah.
sort of very critical.
Mm.
Um, I sort of say people pleasing is like a really big thing.
Guilty.
And yeah,
Very
and it
guilty
is
of that.
it's the
Yeah.
thing, it's really hard to get the balance of kind of setting boundaries and not aiming to please everybody all the time, but also still being who you are at your core. Because if you're a caring person that wants to be there for others and look out for others and support other people, it's like, where do you find that sort of healthy line where, yes, you're doing that, but you're also taking that time for you as well? So, and I heard somebody say the other day, um, people pleasing doesn't please people, it just depletes you. And I don't actually know
Mm.
like where I heard it somewhere, and I thought it was good. Obviously, it helps certain people, but if you're trying to sort of, every single person that you come across, you're trying to please them, do everything for them, da da da, then you're going to end up like your cup is going to be totally
Yeah.
empty. You've got nothing more to give, and that's
Mm.
you burn out, don't you?
Mm.
Um, I hope that sort of answered your question. I feel like I waffle a little
I
bit.
know it has, and I think certainly the people pleasing, the perfectionism kind of things you say, wanting everything to be
Mm,
right, and I think it's that if you have high expectations for yourself, or of yourself,
mm,
then you kind of are just setting yourself up to,
mm.
not say people shouldn't have high expectations, but it's that realistic that it's okay to fail, it's okay
Yeah,
to not get everything right first time, and also
yeah,
it's not always or what I struggle with, I think, and maybe you touched on it there as well, so you might be able to
mm,
relate, is that I don't know why, but I feel like I drop into these cycles of constantly having to show my worth
mm-hmm.
team, or to my managers, or to the, like, I'm here and I still care, or I'm good enough.
Yeah,
It's really interesting. So my manager currently is amazing, as an amazing people person, and in terms of like
yeah,
actually managing people. And I maybe haven't had that before.
yeah,
But where she just said to me, she was like, look, you're good enough, and we know you can do this role, and that's why you're in the door. That's why we hired you. If
yeah,
you think you could do it, you wouldn't be here. So
yeah,
don't worry about constantly showing that. And actually,
yeah,
by wanting to get everything perfect and worrying about everything, it actually makes you less productive, because
yeah,
you struggle to just, I try to keep all the plates spinning at once.
yeah,
Or the
yeah,
slightest thing comes in and distracts me, I'm like, oh well, if I'm doing this, then that's not going to be as good as it can be, does it? Like,
yeah.
so it's so
And
hard
then
to,
whilst you're thinking about all that, nothing's
nothing
actually
actually gets done. I can be
getting done. Yeah,
like that long list, and actually, rather than just maybe, okay, today I'm going to do this, everything else
mm,
can kind of wait, and then yeah, it's but no,
yeah,
yeah, definitely answer the question, and definitely I can relate to a lot of those things.
yeah.
Do you know, maybe for yourself, where that came from? If that makes sense, like the why, maybe the why you felt like you had to be constant.
Yeah, I don't really know specifically where it did come from, to be honest. And it's funny because like when I think back to like school, so like GCSEs, A levels, I was always like, I'd always do as much as I needed to get to the like next level, if that makes sense. Like I was not
Yeah.
like a straight A star student. I'd be like, okay, I need, I don't know, like B's and A's to go on to this A level. I need to get these A levels to get into this university. So I was never like a perfectionist in that sense, or always really like high achieving, pushing myself.
Yeah.
Because I was quite happy just like doing just what I needed to do and plodding through. And then I don't know if it's the nature of the job that I was doing. I was working in property. That's umbrella term. I was in that industry.
Yeah, yeah.
And, yeah, I just suddenly really internalized everything, and it was like I have to. If I felt like I dropped the ball at all, it was really. I really took it to heart, and I just felt like, oh, I'm just not good enough, and I, yeah, wasn't giving myself enough credit. And I think that's where the perfectionist side of things can really be a pain in the backside sometimes, because if you're not doing everything spot on, you could be doing something really, really well, but if you just drop that one ball, then it's like, well, it doesn't matter because, you know,
I can be a bit like that.
and you just beat yourself up. So I don't know where it originated, but from a lot of sort of, I've worked with a coach, I've sort of done my own sort of practices and just experimented with different things. And now I'm like, you know what? I think there'll always be a part of me that wants to do things obviously as well as I can. That's a good thing, I guess.
I think that's good. I think it's healthy to have that, I think.
Yeah, it's good to have drive, definitely,
Yeah.
and want to do well. But now I'm like, you know what, if I don't, I can give an example now. If I'm not doing everything completely spot on, it doesn't matter because I'm still doing something and I'm following my passion now. And
Yeah.
As long as I'm showing up and I'm there for myself and I'm looking after my body and I'm a good wife, I'm a good dog mum, but that's all that's all that really matters.
Yeah, it's so true though, what we said about drive and that thing, but that drive or goals don't necessarily have to be career based.
Yeah.
And that's something definitely I've like I want to do well in my job and I love what I do, which really helps now. I work in football full time and that's something I've loved and that helps when you're surrounded by people who are like-minded and have a real passion and also even like the menial tasks, it's fine because it's going towards maybe helping kids play football or helping football in the area, which is really nice. But yeah, my goal, I would say I'm not a careerist now, if that's all. Whereas I definitely was, and that's where I think for myself, and I kind of ask the question where you feel like it came from for you. I think for me it was and actually similar with what you said, I kind of wanted to get what I needed to move on to the next step. And when I talk about high expectations, I mean, I was a A-star student, got like 11 A-stars at GCSE, went on, did my A-levels, got my A-star in chemistry, but I kind of, it wasn't what I needed, it was what I felt personally. I set myself the target. And when I then obviously got into the PhD, and again, it's something I've spoken about a fair bit, but it's then impossible to be, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to be, the top of the class, the top of the, and I didn't love the subject. I mean, I don't because as soon once I burnt out and kind of left it, and that was about 6 years ago. I don't really even now keep up with science journals or and that's where I know I didn't love what I did. It was a way to get validation. It was a way to I basically created this character for myself and I was playing it. I wasn't authentic at all for the first 22 years of my life, which is then hard when you kind of realize that. But at the same time exciting because now I can kind of that freedom to actually I love football.
This is what I like to do.
I work in football. I love let's do stuff in the coffee space. I feel more comfortable being vulnerable and open than I thought I was allowed to be growing up in an all-boys school.
But I think as well, like, to be fair, I mean, this is like a huge topic, but I do also feel like how the education system is sort of how it is and sort of established is like when it might be slightly different now because I appreciate it's quite a long time since I went to school, but it was very much sort of from, I guess, you start your GCSEs, you do your A levels, it's like uni. Like uni is what you need to work towards. You know, I don't know if it might be the school that I went to, and I loved my school. It was very much everything that we did was targeted towards getting into a good university. And actually, to be quite honest, like I loved my time at uni, but had I known about other options and other opportunities and what I could have got from other sort of like methods of different, what am I trying to say here? Different experiences, different methods of education, experience. I'm not sure that I would have maybe gone to uni. There might have been other things more suited to me, but it's just the way that it was kind of drilled in, I guess, from quite an early age. It was like, no, you need to go to uni, you need to do this, you know, this is going to open a whole plethora of job opportunities. And then you sort of get out the other side and it's like, right, so I've just done 3 years of psychology. I can't actually be a psychologist unless I've got experience, but then I can't get experience because I have no experience. Like it was just
I think
it's
school
difficult.
specific. I know my school was very much like that. I went to grammar school, so that was kind of, I guess, expected. And at the time, I loved it, I guess, because that was how I kind of saw myself as like wanting to achieve and this, that, and the other. But I can remember specifically when it got to kind of sixth form, we were asked kind of what subject you might want to do at uni, and they'd maybe look to support and stuff, which was great, obviously, if that's what you want to do. But then I do remember if people didn't want to go to university, they almost had to have a meeting with either the head of year or the headmaster to explain why. It was almost like you had to justify why you didn't want to do that, and that immediately it judges people's choices, or makes them, I'm not good enough, maybe, and it's not for everyone. And I think it has changed. I know there's a lot more about, obviously, like apprenticeships and this, that, and the other. We've got an apprentice at work, actually, and I think it's really cool. And it seems to be working really well. For him. Or even like with me at uni, it's funny. But I applied for Oxford. I didn't get in. I got to interview stage and didn't get in. It's my first kind of not back on that path, on that trajectory. And I can remember even then going back to school, and people kind of knew who was kind of applying. It was a bit, and then when I didn't get in, I remember people being like, "Oh, like, how did you not get in?" And I was almost more worried about that than the actual not the place. So it's how much it was, playing for the awards, I think, is what people say. It's the education. I think it's a while since my partner's a teacher, psychology, actually. She's she's head of her department as well. So she's kind of like sees the teachers and but I think it seems a lot maybe better now that uni isn't the only way. And also, I guess, not to get skeptical, as you say, big topic, the big fees that get paid and stuff, and like it's all part of like the school. I don't know, the schools, they want their stats, they want the intention of the students at heart when you want to get them onto uni is the big question. And I'm not going to answer that, or don't really want to dive too much into that.
No, that's what I mean. It's like, it's one of those things that, like, and I don't know loads about the education system, but I just think when reflecting on my own sort of circumstances, I just think like and like, don't get me wrong, I loved it, and I guess that's why I'm where I am now. But I just think there are other ways, and
but no, flipping it back round to Burnout, we kind of spoken about your experience a little bit. What does life look like as a Burnout coach? What does that role kind of look like? Is it like similar to, I know obviously this is a podcast episode, is it kind of like, coaching calls and things like that? And
it is. So I qualified as a health coach around this time last year, actually. So I'm still in the sort of early days of my coaching business. But effectively, yeah. So I'm working with clients, female clients from, well, globally, because that's like, I guess I'm in Hong Kong. I've got clients in the UK, America, different areas. But yeah, it's basically, I just want to support women who have kind of lost sight of their direction in a way, and just need a kind of a bit of a reset, just a minute to kind of take stock of what's going on, and help them manage stress, any present stress, and moving forward. And just really on a wider level, I just want to help sort of raise awareness as to what burnout is, because I think it can creep up on people in a big way, and I think a lot of people are experiencing it, but it's not spoken about really as to what it actually looks like, how it affects you short term, long term, how it affects your relationships, how it affects your health, how it affects your career. Because, you know, if you burn out, you can suddenly lose it in the office, and people just think, God, she's a bit of a one. But actually, no, she's just totally, you know, overwhelmed, doesn't know what to do, and a bit snappier than normal, that sort of thing. And so I think a big part of it is really explaining to people and just helping, you know, raise that awareness as to what burnout is.
No, amazing. Amazing. It must be so, particularly having had the lived experience, it must be really rewarding maybe. And maybe when people, there's maybe moments of, oh, I didn't know that was burnout. Because I think burnout, the general consensus, and even maybe before even hearing you say that, and I'm thinking of my own thing, is I thought or think of burnout as the bit where you go off. Or when you've burnt out, rather than the process of burning out. And I think maybe it's that thing that people don't, that's why they think, oh, not me, I'm fine, I'm working, I'm good, I'm on my job. But it's the quality of your life around like work and then just noticing, I guess, changes to behavior and changes.
And that's thing, like the World Health Organization, they actually have it now. It's recognized like syndrome is what they call it. And their definition is like chronic stress in the workplace, which hasn't been effectively managed. Was the most recent sort of definition. When I work with my clients, though, I feel like work is a massive part of it, but you can't just take that one chunk. I think effectively, for me specifically, when working with people, it's burnout is when your energy is depleted in an area of your life, and it's having a knock-on effect to your overall well-being. So it could be that, you know, it could even be something like you're planning a wedding, and it's just lots of pressure, lots of money, lots of different expectations. It's big, and then, you know, it might be that you're super stressed and then you can't concentrate on your career and you're falling out with people and all that. It can be anything. It can be a seemingly positive event, negative event, anything. It's something that's leaving a part of you depleted to the point where you're not well, you know, you're not vibrant, you're not living how you want to, your purpose. That's sort of what I feel burnout is.
Amazing. Really. No, I love that. And it's not just career, is it? That's obviously where probably it gets the most attention. But it can be just draining yourself, isn't it? And it's a little bit, I guess, where we go to it's a bit like why I say kind of like self-care is not selfish. And I think you before like coming on here when I mentioned about it, you said that kind of stuck on when I was on I guess we're going full circle from when I was on your sister Amy's podcast, Unsure, which was a while back, and that was the first time I kind of had any was introduced to kind of or was on one, and I think you mentioned that you a couple of weeks ago or something, it was just you mentioned it to someone and was like just reminding yourself, and I guess that is maybe when people start getting on that cycle. It's like that hamster wheel when you are stressed and everything seems urgent and everything seems you have to control it almost. Sometimes the best thing to do is take a break, refresh yourself, and then when you come back to it with a bit of a clearer headspace and more you can make rational decisions and actually realize why did I why did I get myself so worked up about that? And the number of times I've done that, and still do now, I'll be honest, still do. But I can catch myself now a little bit.
But no, I think that's it. It's learning to recognize like the cues in yourself when you can find yourself getting overwhelmed, where you need to take that second to just be like, right, okay, I can feel, you know, the sort of tension, the stress rising here. What can I do to help sort of restore balance so that I can actually look at this as I want to, rather than, you know, it's just letting it overwhelm you. And that's like so important. Really, really important.
But so difficult in the moment, because you feel like you're doing it then, don't you? Especially if you think everything's urgent, it's then so difficult to be actually, I'll leave that for 5-10 minutes, go for a quick walk or look at something else, and trying to just catch myself, which is cool. But no, it sounds amazing, as you say, doing it kind of must be interesting hearing about the different, like, maybe cultures across like USA, America, or just connecting with people, I guess, isn't it? It's a way to hear of people's experiences. So no, it sounds like it's really rewarding. And no,
it is. I love it, and I do feel like it's what I'm meant to be doing. You know, I get excited by it, and I think I've heard you say, you know, on your previous episodes, that, you know, you're working full time, but you also have cappuccino, and it gives you energy. And that's how I feel with my coaching as well. Because like here at the moment, I'm working as a teacher. I teach English as well. So I do that during the day, and then I coach in the evenings. But I know from a burnout coach, it's like, how do you stop yourself from getting burnt out? But it's that thing of it gives me energy. Like, I thoroughly enjoy myself, and, you know, I'm connecting with people. You know, it just it feels good.
And I can relate. I can relate because you were quoting me, so of course I can relate. but it's I talk a lot about if something gives me energy or it takes it away, and sometimes it's, for me as well, it's a nice way to switch off from work and just be doing something passionate. Or say, for example, this morning, or I know it's like evening itself, but this morning, although it was a really busy week, like at work, and by the end I was pretty tired. I'd led like a team training and this, that, and the other, and I'd had a day in London, so it was a team training where there was a discussion to be had, let's put it that way. And for someone who's a people pleaser, knowing that I'm going to be kind of facilitating a session that's going to cause a bit of I'll say conflict, but like professional conflict. Not like I didn't just start a brawl. By the time this goes out, it will all have settled. But no, it was a topic that needed to be spoken about. And but then it was, what's so great about our teams, we had that. It was a bit, I wouldn't say uncomfortable. I didn't find it uncomfortable, but maybe I was leading the session, so I knew what was coming. But then we had a team day, and we all kind of went to pub, like Nag's Head and Abingdon. You know quite well, and it was nice and sunny on the river. And that was what was so lovely, actually, when we were then sat there after. Because my experience of conflict or growing up, and I think I know where my conflict aversion comes from, it's because my parents split. And my experience of conflict can end relationships. And it's something I've touched with my therapist. It was almost like, I'm so worried that maybe, I don't know, the part of me that would be like, if I do this team meeting and then everyone's conflict, they'll say, get him out, he's the problem. It's like, you get these like, these thoughts that, it's, but I agree. Things that give you energy are so important. And I think I talk about self-care, and self-care doesn't have to be, you know, cucumbers on your eyes having a spa day.
No.
Self-care for me is going to the football at the weekend. It's just something that you're fully transcendent in, I guess, and just you're in the moment, isn't it? Like anything where you're in the moment, and it's I would say.
Exactly. So. No, and that's the thing, you know, I think self-care can take so many different forms, and I think, you know, there's so many beautiful what am I looking for, graphics and things that you see on Instagram, and it's like, have a bubble bath, which I bloody love, but have a bubble bath, you know, make yourself like a nice coffee, read a book. That's things that I always say to do. But it can also mean having those tricky conversations when there's, you know, something that needs to be said. It can be sitting down with your finances and being like, right, okay, I'm not in a good situation, let's move it forward, what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
It can be anything, but it's something that's, you know, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable at the time, is going to help you in the long term, and it's going to contribute to your wellness. And I just think that's really important. And anything that you're spending your time doing that's improving your health, your well-being, that's not selfish.
No, exactly.
It's not. It's just not.
No, it's not. And everyone will, the people around you, you'll pay it forward almost to the people around you, because if you're happy with yourself, or you're happier and more energy, then you're able to, improve your relationships with everyone else as well. And that's amazing. No, I love how you put that there, and it's so true. It's just, and I see it as well as it's showing respect to yourself. Yeah. Respecting your time, respecting your emotions, respecting your energy, the same way you would your best friend or your partner or a colleague. So anything where you're doing that and giving yourself time and doing that, I think is self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is. And as I know we said about earlier, but I always remember like because I guess, is it like your slogan? Is that the word I want? Or your
kind of tagline, I guess. Motto, is that a thing? But
motto, yeah. I was talking to somebody and they were like, oh, I just like, I need a few weeks. I just want to like clear my calendar and just have some time to like get on top of everything. And like they literally said, I think it's probably a little bit selfish. I literally just went in there with what you say, and they were like, oh, okay, I hadn't really thought about it like that. And it's like, you don't, because I think we're so sort of programmed to sort of be on the go all the time, that when we want to take a step back for a minute, it almost seems like, gosh, wild. But actually, no, it's what we should absolutely be doing and prioritizing all the time.
100%. Yeah.
It just is.
It is, because, and again, we've got to remember still that technology is advancing so quickly. People didn't have these, and it's something that Lucy touched on in her episode previously about we didn't have these problems that long ago. There were obviously different problems with and obviously we can be grateful that everything's so advanced now and technology, we can do amazing things. We're having a conversation, you're in Hong Kong and I'm in Australia, that is wild in a way. Yeah. When you really think about it. But people weren't bombarded or stimulated all the time. And it's, I know I'm on it a lot, because obviously Cappuccino started as a social media kind of thing. And so I'm very wary of that you spend quite a lot of time online. And so sometimes it is really important for me. That's why the tagline, like self-care, not selfish, is a reminder to myself more than anyone else. And I think that's something that I say, because if I'm on the page and or say like doing the podcast and thing alongside working, I just need to remember it's for me, for as much as, and again, that sounds selfish to say I'm doing it for me, but then it's not, because let's say it gives me energy, but at the same time people can benefit from that or have taken note, it's really quite I don't know. I feel like kind of proud that you've said like, oh yeah, I remember that tagline, and I've passed it on. And that's the thing, isn't it? You don't know how many, I guess similar with your clients and Burnout, you never really know the full impact that you have by being maybe vulnerable or talking about these topics.
It's so important. And even I remember a post you popped up the other day about, you were going through like depression, and I just thought, you know what, that's exactly what you want to be seeing, is somebody being really sort of transparent, honest and open, that it's not, you can really focus on your mental health and well-being and be helping other people. It doesn't mean that you're not still going to experience it yourself. And it's really important to share that. And it really like hit me. It's just, I don't know, I didn't really know you that well, but I just thought, good for him, because that's what is so sort of valuable, is openness and sharing that sort of thing. And you work with like younger males, I guess, with what you do, and I just think the fact that you can see that that's really, really important, not to keep it to yourself, but to share it, and be able to talk about it.
No, thank you. And yeah, it's particularly the connection with Didcot Football Club as well.
Yeah.
A massive youth setup, and it's on the shirts now, which again is really, really amazing. When I set up this Instagram page to review cafes, the fact that now, yeah, they're starting to really connect in the community, and it can maybe lead to conversations. We've got a page in the program. They did a fixture for Restore, the charity that we're up for, and yeah, sometimes again it's taking stock and actually giving myself time to reflect, kind of, okay, you created this kind of thing, which I don't do enough, but it's I'm sure, like, a few years down the line, it's just important for me to kind of do reflect, but yeah, it's just getting that conversation out there, and it's for me as well. I think I've kind of spoken about it before, but it's almost like it's a very public one, but like an online journal for me. I don't necessarily do anymore. It's something I maybe want to try and start doing a bit more. I don't know if it's something that you do.
Yeah, and it's something that I encourage a lot of my clients to do as well. Just as a point of like checking in, really. Because when you put things down on paper, there's something about it. It kind of makes it more sort of real, I guess, and like more. It really brings what you're feeling to the forefront when you're putting it on paper.
Helps you rationalize it, doesn't it? Because if you read, you think, well, if someone else had written that, what advice would I give to them? It's easier to do that, I guess, rather than it all being internal.
I think it's really a valuable exercise, and I think, you know, sometimes when you think of journaling, you think you've got to write down like reams and reams, but actually, you know, some of the journals you can buy like with prompts, and it can just be a couple of minutes, and it's just a reference point, really, and you can just sort of think, okay, how am I feeling right now? How do I want to feel? You know, what's working, what's not working so well for me right now, and it's just a really good way of just checking in with yourself.
No, definitely.
But yeah, you recommend it.
Yeah, that's an action for me. There we go. Being set homework on my own podcast. Here we go. You can tell you work as a teacher, right?
Just bossing you around.
I'll be getting follow-ups now. So have you started yet? But no, it's something that I think I'm aware that I should do. Is that almost what's, I guess, for me, what's stopping me? Is there a little bit of a, for me to answer, not for us to, like, and for me to just take time and be like, because it's like with a lot of things, or maybe some people were like, oh, I want to go to the gym, or oh, I want to get fit, or I want to start going for a walk in the morning before I go to work. Lots of things, and you think, what's stopping you, or what can you put in place to kind of make it happen? So that's for me to maybe have a little time with myself and just think, start it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I don't know if I don't, start it.
No, exactly.
So,
and that's the thing, you might kind of try it and think, oh, it's not really for me, but at least you know then, don't you? Whereas you could start getting into the routine of it, and absolutely it can make such a big difference. So it's just one of those things.
Just gotta give it a go. Awesome. So now I'm wary of time. I think time's flown, to be honest. I can't believe we've been chatting about time already. But I think you mentioned you've seen a couple of the episodes, so I want to kind of ask a couple of questions just to finish off with. So I think the first thing I'm going to ask, and this is obviously specific to kind of yourself and being the burnout coach, is what would your best or first piece of advice be to someone if they maybe have heard this and can relate a little bit and think, oh, maybe I'm burning out a little bit? What do you have first advice other than give Chloe a follow, which I would obviously anyway, because I personally, I even like shared one of your posts this week, and again, to anyone who is watching or listening, I'll pop it in the post, I think really would recommend that. But what would your kind of advice be if someone came to you and said that?
I think the first thing really is what would I say the first thing is? It would be to speak to somebody, not necessarily, not like to me, but reach out to somebody that you trust. Because I think once you verbalize how you're feeling, it's monumental in your journey to moving forward. I think because it's you can get very overwhelmed, and when you're experiencing burnout, and you can kind of have these internal conversations with yourself being like, oh no, I'm not stressed, it's fine, no, I'm not, it's fine, I can do this, it's just a phase, like, it doesn't matter that, I'm not sleeping, I'm not going to the toilet properly, I'm not, I'm not happy, I'm crying, but I'll just keep it in and it'll be fine, I'll move forward. But the second you speak to somebody else about it and they hear it, you're going to hear, or I'd hope you'd hear in yourself, okay, actually that's not good, like that's not good. Like if I notice that in somebody else, I don't know if you saw my post the other day, but I said, if you notice the change in your child or your pets, if they stopped eating, sleeping, if they were snappy, their behaviors changed, would you just sit there and not do anything? No, you wouldn't. You'd be like, right, something needs to change. What can we do? And I think having that initial conversation, reaching out to somebody that you trust is really, really important. So I would say, that's what I would say is the most important thing first and foremost.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. And just to finish off, what is happiness to you?
Happiness to me is wetting myself laughing with my husband. Like not actually wetting myself laughing, but like there's nothing that makes me more happy than, like, we don't really need to be doing anything. We could just be like on the sofa with Hendrix watching something or whatever, just having dinner and just really laughing to the point where you're crying, like you're just, and you just can't control it. Like that for me is like pure happiness. Like to have that bond with somebody where you can just lose it over the most silly things. Like I think that.
No,
I would say that.
I love that. Yeah, there's moments, when you don't even know why you're laughing by the end of it.
Yeah.
And you just laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pure joy, isn't it? Pure joy.
Yeah, I think so. And it's just, I think that's the best thing. Like I love watching like stand-up comedy and stuff. And obviously like you can really have a laugh, but there's just something about laughing over something ridiculous with somebody that you love that just really is like a whole other level.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would say that.
No, thank you. Thanks, Chloe. Thanks
of course.
for taking the time to have a chat. And there's certainly a lot I can relate to and maybe take to school. I hope it's the same for other people. And enjoy the evening, as I say.
Thank you.
Yourself and thanks so much.
No, it's been so great to speak to you finally after all these years.
I know, after all this time.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, and I really hope you gained something from that conversation. I know I certainly did. It would mean a lot if you can like and subscribe on whatever platform you may be watching or listening on, but also if you head over to Instagram and give me a follow at Cappuccino. This is the best place to contact me, but also see the latest developments on the platform as we look to increase awareness of mental health through my passions for coffee and football. In addition, if you've heard something that you can relate to or you want to talk about a little bit more, feel free to message me on that platform. But also, if you fancy coming on yourself and having a conversation, then do let me know, because I'm always keen to connect with new people and get insights into other areas and other passions and other challenges that I might have no experience of myself. Thanks again, and I really hope you tune in for the next episode. Take care of yourselves. I've been Hans. Thank you.